Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar, Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, How Luxury Retailers Are Implementing Digital Transformation. We're so glad you all could join us. Before we begin, if you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please type them into the questions box to your right and we'll get them answered for you at the end. Now without further ado, I will hand it off to our first presenter today, Roland Glidden.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Again, Roland Glidden here. I'm the Director of Digital Transformation for Retailers at Hitachi. And I've been working with retailers for many years now to improve their customer service and operations. And I'm accompanied today by Jason Diaz, who is our Technical Solutions Architect. And today's presentation is going to be a continuation of our learning sessions that have centered around Microsoft Dynamics 365. And for those of you who might be new to these sessions, the goal here is to show you how Hitachi has worked with other retailers who've made the move to Dynamics, and then how this has benefited their business by engaging with their shoppers more fully. So Hitachi is part of a much larger company, an $81 billion company that focuses on, our portion focuses specifically on Microsoft Dynamics operations, finance, and CRM, and does so across about 10 countries with about 16,000 associates. The focus of our practice has now been going back about 13 years, and right now we've got 400 dedicated professionals that have been implementing Microsoft solutions with approximately 525 Dynamics implementations right here in North America. And something that's really key, I think, is important about partnering with Hitachi is that we've won about 65 Microsoft Partner of the Year awards for our successful implementations of more than 525 clients. So enough about our background and our credentials and the like. Why is it that you would want to consider moving to Dynamics 365? And I guess in a nutshell, Hitachi is really changing the way retail businesses operate. We pull together into one coherent platform everything from e-commerce, CRM, ERP, mobility, and even predictive analytics so that everyone in your organization has access to the same information at the same time and can make the best decisions with current and accurate information. So really, what does this mean? Like, reactive processes really are no longer cutting it for most retailers. And businesses need to be able to anticipate and proactively manage the changing requirements. You want to be able to reach your shoppers when they're ready, wherever they are. They could be at work, they might be on the train, they might be at home. Microsoft Dynamics for Finance and Operations, in particular the Enterprise Edition, which covers both ERP and CRM, offers a complete set of business applications that can streamline your business. And the results, of course, are improving your customer engagements and the experience that they have with your retail operations. Today, we're going to be showing you an actual example of Dynamics implementation at a luxury retailer. In this case, this is a retailer that operates a chain of jewelry stores, and they have very strong online presence. Although your business could be in a different sector of retail, I'm sure you're going to see parallels from this jewelry scenario to your business. So again, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jason Diaz, who's our Retail Technical Solutions Architect, who can now walk you through some of the different scenarios. And we're going to start with a person who's just starting to think about an engagement and then move on from there. But I think, Jason, you've got a couple of things that you want to chat about first.
Yeah, thanks, Roland. So just wanted to kind of just briefly talk about the solution that we have to offer and how we can help with your digital transformation. So as Roland mentioned, what the solution really has to offer is not just the operation side of it, but you also have the whole e-commerce, the CRM, that's where sales associates can use their little black book. And we'll see a lot of this going on, including some of the reporting from a BI standpoint. One good example of why e-commerce and the whole point of sale is so key is the whole omnichannel scenario. Like in today's world, a lot of customers are actually visiting brick and mortar stores just to examine the product before purchasing it online, and also vice versa, where they may look online for product information and then finally make the purchase in the store. And that's why it's so key that your operations, that's your point of sale, as well as your e-commerce channel, all works end-to-end integrated into a complete omni-channel scenario. And we'll have a look at some of those scenarios. Just want to briefly touch base on the solution, the retail footprint. So not only from a sales and service standpoint, where you have the point of sale, e-commerce, customer loyalty, but we're also incorporating a lot on the customer engagement side of it, which is like a customer 360, which is sales associates managing their customers, your whole customer service. And we're also bringing in the whole data analytics into the picture, where we are providing you with reporting and predictive hub analysis. As part of the solution, you still have all of the supply chain side of it, which is your distribution, inbound and outbound logistics, manufacturing if you are a manufacturer in terms of jewelry or any luxury goods, the whole replenishment side of it. And then there's also the corporate side of it, where you have your accounts, accounting, your timekeeping and HR. So the solution covers pretty much all of the NRF sub-process libraries. Just some of our customers, and obviously we'll have this recording available, but in the luxury goods space, you have customers like Pandora, Mikimoto, Bailey Biddle and Banks, Bids, that's using the solution. Just briefly going to introduce the solution real quick. So obviously from a luxury goods standpoint, there is different ways in which shopping is done in the store. So right from your product merchandising in terms of providing customers with additional information about the product, or purchasing a warranty along with those products, your customer clienteling. These are all sales that are at least $1,000 tickets, and obviously clienteling is key, where you're trying to get the customer coming back into the store. There's a whole lot of special transactions, like in terms of jewelry, where it could be a made to order, or even in luxury goods where you may have a specialized order where there would be a transition in terms of how the order is placed. Also your trade-ins, repair transactions, and we'll have a look at a lot of this. But also from an omni-channel scenario, the whole product merchandising, ring building, the ability to buy online, pick up in store, omni-channel gift certificates, as well as customer loyalty. In terms of inventory, also your serialized inventory support, consignment inventory support, and then obviously in terms of buying your planned open to buy report and any planning reports if available. For today's webinar, we'll actually have a look at some of these functionality. We can't get into all of it. So we'll have a look a little bit on the merchandising side of it, a cash and carry, a special order transaction, and then we'll also have a look at a layaway transaction. So this is very key in the luxury goods, on how customers can place orders and then also come in, make layaway payments. We'll have a look a little bit on the omni-channel side of it, the whole customer clienteling as well as the e-commerce. And then we'll get into the operations. We'll have a look at one scenario, which is how consignment inventory is handled, and then also have a look at some of the reporting and dashboards. So I'm actually going to get into the demo environment right now. So we'll have a look at this environment live. So what you see on your screen is my login screen. So here's where, as a CSR, I can come into the store, log into my account, and obviously there is the whole integration with the cash draw, all of that set up. But this is where I have my complete point of sale. The look and feel is completely customizable. So depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, you could have the look orientation be changed. Here's where I can see all of my products. So there's kind of like product merchandising available, where I can actually drill down, see the different product categories that I have. I can drill down into a category. In this case, I can see all my engagement rings. There's also the ability where I can further narrow it down based on different attributes, like it could be by brand or by size. So I can narrow down my listing on the products out here. I can also see a listing of all of my categories out here, where I can see a flyout. I can drill down if I want to see just bridal items. Next thing out here is the 3 rings that I have that I can view. I also have the ability where I can actually go ahead and compare products together. So a lot of times in case of luxury goods, you may see the product, but there are detailed specifications which may not be available in person in the store when you're looking at the product. And that's where I can actually select the items and I can view product comparison along with the customer. And this is all device agnostic, so it could also be run on a tablet or a sleeve device or an iPad, where store associates could be walking around the store providing customers with information. I can also drill down into a particular product. I can see the product information. There's the ability where you can have multiple images, product information, like in this case, if it's diamond, what are the diamond specifications in terms of cut, clarity, color. I can also see related product related information. So if I want to see upsell, cross-sell, and this is something which can be driven based on machine learning. So that way, the system will automatically suggest these items based on sales statistics. I can further go back and see another item. So if this is the item that I want to select or purchase, I can add this item to my transaction. And as part of adding it to the transaction, here's where you could have the product available in different variants. And these variants could be size, color, style. Like in this case, I'm selecting my ring size. But it could also be where if you're selling a chain, it could be based on whether it's yellow gold, white gold, or silver. So you could have different attributes. Also out here is where you have product warranty association. So this is where I can actually select a warranty that the customer would like to purchase. The warranty could be a fixed price, or it could also be a percentage calculated based on what the item it is being associated with. In this case, I can go with the 1-year warranty. I can select the item. Any warranty notes, and these notes could also show up on the receipt. So if there's like a warranty number that gets generated in the system, that information can also be populated out here. And then at this point, if you notice, I have this particular item in my transaction. I can see the information, the warranty which it is being associated with. I also have the ability where I can have a product fast tab. So in this case, I could have my favorite products out here. And this could be just single items, or it could also be a drill down where I can actually drill down into categories and select an item. So there's different ways in which you could have the point of sale available for sales associates. I can add an item to my transaction directly by clicking it out here, or I could also just go ahead and key in, or based on a barcode scan, it can add the item as well. Also, if you notice in this case, while adding this item, it's also prompting for upsell and cross-sell. So the system will suggest upsell, cross-sell to sales associates as well. And then here's where I have my transaction. I have the ability where I can do different kind of discounts, overrides. So I can actually select this one item, and I can say if I want to do a discount percent, I can do a discount percent of 5%. And here's where I can even select a reason code. So if it is like a customer satisfaction reason code, I can select that. It shows me the discount that has been applied. I can even go ahead and add like a price override if I need to, and obviously there would be manager approval in that case. Here's where I can actually go ahead, close out the transaction. There's different payment options, so cash, check, credit card, gift card, loyalty cards. There's also the ability where in terms of IRS requirements, where if the cash amount is greater than $10,000, it'll prompt for a driver's license, or if any tax IRS forms need to be filled out. In this case, I can also do multiple tender types on the same transaction. So in this case, I can say I want to do 6,000 on my credit card, and the remaining I'll actually do on cash. Here's where I can even swipe my credit card. In this case, I'm just going to enter it manually and select all this information. And we actually have different sleeves which customers use, where you can actually swipe the credit card on the sleeve, and there's also support for EMV payments as well. In this case, I've done $6,000 in card, and the remaining I can do it in cash. So if I go with the cash option, here's where I can actually select my cash amount. So if I do 3,100 and tender it, the system's going to provide me with what is the change that's due, and I can close this transaction. So this was a simple cash and carry transaction. There are also different specialized transactions. So like a good example is if, say, a product is not available in the store, I have the ability where I can actually do an inventory lookup. So I can actually look up inventory in other stores as well. So here's where I can see this particular item is not available in this store, but at the same time, it's available in my Miami store. So I can select this option and I can go ahead to a pick up in store order directly from this screen itself. The system will go ahead and suggest what day the pickup will be. If I want to do it on 19th, I can select my pickup day. And here's where it basically created my transaction. I can also add a customer. So in adding a customer, here's where I can actually go ahead, key in the customer code. So if I just key in the customer code, it'll automatically populate the customer in my transaction. And this customer code could also be a loyalty card that he may just provide as part of the transaction where you can swipe it or scan it. And then here's where I can process this order. So obviously as part of the delivery terms, it's already been set up where it's going to be picked up in Miami. You can define the deposit. It could be the complete deposit amount or it could be a percentage deposit amount. And here's where I can come online and I can close out this transaction, pay cash, and I'll close this out. So this was another example of a scenario where you would have like a specialized transaction. And then we do have a lot of jewelry specific transactions. So like a good example is like repairs and services, breakouts, your trade-ins, ability where you can place short-term consignment orders. So there's multiple functionality that's available. We'll also have a look at layaway payments, but before I can actually get into layaway payments, I wanted to show you the ability to do some clienteling in the store. So here's where I can actually look up a customer. So if I look up Karen Berg as a customer, I can select this customer. Out here, if you notice, I get to see a lot of information about her, the different addresses, the contact information she has, loyalty. So this is your loyalty cards where I can see my cards as well as my loyalty points, recent purchases. There's also the wish list where we will integrate with your e-commerce site where you can actually set up all of your wish lists, and those same wish lists will be available in the point of sale. There's also recommended products, order history, and then you can also set up different attributes, and these attributes can be defined. So like in terms of jewelry, I can set up attributes like anniversary, birth date, if I need to. Out here is where I can even view cases, and these cases are nothing but in terms of jewelry, it could be your repair case or your ring resizing case, where salespeople have the ability to see the case, which is all managed in the back end, but they have a status view out here where they can see if the case has been complete or it's still pending, so that way they can provide additional information to the customer. In addition to all of that, there's also the ability where I can actually see additional information, and this is where we actually have the integration with the customer engagement side of it. So here's where the same customer that was available in point of sale, I can also view them in the customer engagement side of it. And this has a lot additional information like in terms of personal information, social media, activities, and this could be activities assigned to me or it could be all activities in the system. Here's where I can even see additional information like what product interest they have, the ring size, all of that information, their purchases, interactions with the customer, and this could be product recommendations or survey responses. All of that information is available. There's a whole marketing intel side of it that's available out here, and then finally also all loyalty transactions and points. Now there is a complete loyalty solution as part of our offering, which we have another webinar that we can drill down more into detail, but this is just the integration end-to-end with the two systems. Also in terms of like a customer sales associate black book, so this one I just have as screenshots just because it's on a mobile device, and this is actual mobile device screenshots. So this is like a sales associate in the store can manage their customer information. They can add additional information, view recent cases, and cases could be the ring resizing. And here's where I can actually see, okay, there's a ring resizing for this particular customer, Karen Berg, and I can actually drill down and see the details. In this case, I can see that the ring resizing has been solved or completed, the details, and then there's also notes where whoever did the ring resizing can also upload an image along with notes that they would like to enter. So this is the complete like whole clienteling scenario that's available. The next thing I wanted to, transaction I want to go into is more of a layaway transaction. So here's where I'll actually run through a quick layaway transaction. I'll add an item to my layaway order. So I'll add this particular ring along with the ring size. And I have this layaway. In terms of layaway, I would need to enter a customer. So I'll just go ahead, key in a customer number. And as part of the customer card, Karen Burke has already been added to the transaction. And here's where I can place this as a layaway order. So I can create a layaway order. The system is going to suggest which store the layaway will be picked up and when the layaway will be picked up. In terms of layaway, you can hard code this where it will be just always 6 months, or the sales associates can decide when the layaway pickup will take place. And then here's where I can actually start making layaway payments. So it shows me my total amount, but I can go ahead and say I'm going to make a layaway payment of $1,000 for this one. Let me just change this. So I can go ahead and make a layaway payment out here. And then once I have a layaway payment, here's where I can always do layaway recalls as well. So I can actually pull up layaway transactions if I need to. I can also view payment history for layaway transactions. The next scenario I actually want to run through is the whole omni-channel scenario. So this is where you have your complete e-commerce, the buy online, pick up in store, as well as redeeming of gift certificates, as well as customer loyalty. So in terms of, before we actually go to the e-commerce, in the point of sale, let me go ahead and issue a gift card. So we can actually use the same gift card as part of our e-commerce order entry. So I'll enter today's date with 01 and enter the gift amount as $400. Let's copy this. So this, I've added this to the transaction, and I'm just going to go ahead quickly tender out this payment. So what I did was I placed a gift certificate online. It gives me the option where I can email the receipt if I need to, and my transaction has been closed out. This is your e-commerce solution. In terms of e-commerce, we have a Hitachi Solution e-commerce tool that's available, but at the same time, we also integrate with Adobe Experience Manager, where the complete experience side or the catalog side is managed in Adobe, and then the e-commerce engine is our solution that we use. But here's where I can actually browse through the different catalog. I can see my engagement side of it. Here's where you can even set up like product configurators like a ring builder, so I can actually select my setting, define it based on different attributes like collection or metal type or shape. I can define which setting I want to purchase. Once I select my setting, it gets added to the configurator. And then here's where I can see all of my diamonds that are available. So I can see the different diamond options. I can narrow it down based on carat size. So if I want to see just a certain carat, next thing I'll get to see just the diamonds that match my criteria. And then I can add the setting to the diamond to the setting, and here's where I can go ahead add it to my transaction. So there's like the ability where you can do ring builder configurations. But here's where I can also drill down. I can see some of my other products, in this case my watches. I can drill down into this particular watch. If you notice, I can also view real-time inventory, and this is making a call to the solution to get real-time inventory in the store. So in terms of buy online, pick up in store, you want to allow customers to see what is the inventory available in the store so they can place an order. In this case, I can also go ahead, sign into my account. So once I sign in, it'll basically pull up all of my account information. So I'll quickly sign in real quick. And once I sign in, here's where I get to see all of my account information, what my reward balance is. So this is the whole omni-channel rewards as well. And then we'll actually go through the checkout process where we'll add this item and we'll go through the checkout out here. So I'll add this item to my shopping cart and I'll go through the checkout process. Also, as part of the checkout, here's where I can ship this order to my address. There is integration with all of the carriers. But at the same time, I can select store pickup as an option. Here's where I can even apply that same gift card which we purchased in the store. So once I apply the gift card out here, it's basically showing me the $400 that I've redeemed. And this is a real-time call, so that way at this point of time, if someone tries to redeem the same gift card in the store or online, it will be it'll block because it's part of a transaction. And I can continue with my checkout. In this case, since I've selected store pickup, I can select which store I would like to pick up this order. Here's where I can pay the remaining amount, either cash or I could either pay by credit card. If I want to pay cash, where I'll actually pick up this order in the store, here's where I can go ahead and place the order. So now that my order is placed, I have my order number. I'm going to select my order number. So if I go into the point of sale, here's where I can actually recall orders. So at this point, the customer walks into the store wanting to pick up their order. Here's where I can actually enter the order number and, here's where I can enter the order number. It shows me the order that got placed. I can select the order for pickup. I can process the pickup order. In this case, it shows me the items that are part of the transaction, and I can process the pickup order and take tender payment for that. The next thing I want to quickly just run through is the back office. It's more around the operation side of it. So this is an example of dashboards as well as workspaces available as part of the solution. So you could have different tiles showing your retail stores. And this is something which you can very easily configure. So you can actually add another list out here where I just want to see my retail stores in the East region. You can actually do different kind of filtering and then add those styles out here. As part of the solution, there's a whole lot of Power BI that's comes standard out of the box. So this is a good example of a Power BI report where I can see all of my store information in terms of payment type. And it could be, I can narrow it down based on a particular store, in this case, Houston. And I can further drill down, I can see what is the cash payment type. And if you notice, all of my report is automatically getting updated based on my selection. One thing that we're going to actually have a look at in the operation side of it is we'll have a look at consignment inventory. So I actually have this item which is set up as a consignment inventory. So this is an example. We'll actually follow this transaction, which is the warehouse San Antonio, just to kind of make it easier. So let me so I'll apply this filter out here. So if you notice out here, I have this particular item. There's the field which is the owner tab, and this basically tells me this consignment, who owns it in terms of which vendor owns this particular consignment. And it's basically showing me that there's a quantity of 5 that has been ordered. It's not physically available, but it's available for receiving. I'm actually going to go in and we'll actually receive this inventory. So if I go back into my solution, I'll go into my consignment purchase orders. So here's where I can see consignment purchase orders. So it shows me the item with quantity 5, and this is where I can actually go ahead and do my receiving. So I can generate a product receipt, and I'll just enter my receipt number out here, and I'll receive this. So at this point of time, now that I've received it, if I go back into my on-hand inventory screen and just refresh this out here, so if you notice, this inventory 5 is now physically in inventory. It is still under the owner 1001, which is the vendor, but it's available for sale. I'm going to actually go ahead and place a sales order. So now this sales order can be generated either through point of sale, or it could be your e-commerce sales order. It doesn't matter how the sales order gets generated. But this is where I actually started a sales order. I'm going to actually add the line to it, which is the item, the consignment inventory item. And I'll go ahead and enter quantity as 2 for this, and I'll save this. So at this point of time, my sales order is ready. I'm going to go ahead and confirm the sales order. Once I confirm the sales order, this is when the system is going to go ahead and book inventory for the sales order. What it's also going to do is it's going to create an automatic ownership transfer journal, which is transferring the ownership of that consignment inventory into asset inventory. So if I just pull up my details out here, so if you notice, it automatically did the posting, it did a purchase order creation for that consignment inventory item, which is already in stock. So the purchase order is already received. And at this point of time, the inventory is in my system. So if I just close this and come back, go into my on-hand inventory. So the sales order was quantity 2. If I just refresh this, if you notice what it did, it transferred inventory from the vendor consignment, which was initially 5, into our asset-owned inventory, which is USRT, which is actually the company I'm transacting into. And at this point of time, that sales order can be fulfilled because the inventory exists in the system. So that was just one scenario I wanted to show in terms of consignment, which is key in the luxury goods space. But in addition to that, we have a lot of Power BI reporting that has also been done in terms of retail side of it. So here's where I can see like my executive dashboard reporting. I can also drill down. There's the ability where I can actually do reporting based on my watch category as well as based in sales in terms of for a particular month. I can do a whole lot of drill down and see my details if needed. There's a whole lot of additional reporting that has also been built. So there's the sales audit. So in terms of retail and especially in luxury goods, sales audit being pretty key. Here's where I can see all of my sales audit, my overshot amount, the different kind of return transactions that have been performed, who has performed the return transaction as well. So from a loss prevention standpoint, all of this information is available. There's also the store manager reporting. So this is where I can actually see from a store manager in terms of my store what's going on in terms of net sales, sales by category, sales particular time, at what times the sales take place the most, and all of these reports are something which I can further drill down into as well. There's also some replenishment related reporting that has been built, which is specific in terms of the jewelry industry. So you're open to buy, where I can see all of my reporting out here. There's the ability where I can further narrow it down based on region. So if I want to see just for the central region, I can drill down and do my open to buy for a particular region only, as well as for a particular product hierarchy if needed. So that was a high-level overview of the solution that we have to offer. Obviously, a lot more functionality, which we can actually do detailed deep dive demos, but it is catered for the luxury space. I'm gonna pass it back on to Roland real quick. Just a few points that Roland would like to address.
Yeah, so actually, I guess a key thing that is inherent in Dynamics 365 is something that I like to call, it's all in there. And of course, you can see from what Jason has been demonstrating, we have the experience with this as well. So the key thing with 65 is that it's including not only the functionality that was just demonstrated here, but it's a very familiar look and feel from Microsoft. All of the software assurance is built in. I'm not going to read through the list here. It's pretty, a pretty good comprehensive grouping there, but essentially everything can be hosted in a local data center by Microsoft, which is extremely valuable to you in that you don't need to worry anymore about keeping things current, both from a hardware perspective or for that matter from a software perspective. And whenever there are updates to Dynamics 365, they're offered to you as well, and you can choose when to bring them into the system and keep yourself current. So that's pretty much the kind of a key thing on 365. I guess, of course, Jason has now put up here, these are some of the awards that we've gotten, and I would, I guess, draw your attention particularly to the top row for not only our Partner of the Year awards, both on a worldwide basis for CRM, Dynamics CRM, but also, the top reseller in Canada. So we're quite pleased about that as well. And of course, last but not least, as we've been classified by Microsoft as being a visionary for the implementations that we've done with Pandora. And to that point, I guess I would recommend as a follow-up to today's webinar is to go out and actually look at the Microsoft website, and you'll see that there are some very good stories and testimonials out there. One in particular is there from Pandora. And if any of you would like to have the link to that, please feel free to drop me an email you can see it up there on the screen there. I'll be happy to send you the direct link to the Microsoft site that has the testimonials. So it's some pretty compelling things there that were said by Lori McDonald, who's their VP of Sales, as well as it's all about essentially controlling the brand experience and making sure that everybody has the right information within their organization so they can get it right. So with that, if there's any questions, I'll pause for a moment to see if anybody in the panel has any questions. Ashley, let me know if any pop up.
Perfect. Thank you, Roland. I definitely will. We'll just have a moment for any folks to type in any of their last questions.
Don't be bashful.
Yes. Don't be bashful, everyone.
You're welcome to email to Jason or myself with any follow-up questions that you might have. So it sounds like we're not getting any questions. All right, that's just fine. Well, I guess this concludes today's session, and thank you very much. We will have run another session, perhaps with another retail vertical, and show what we do, perhaps just as an example, maybe in the food and beverage space, just as an example for the next one. So thank you very much. I appreciate your attending today.